Hi, I'm Caroline and thank you for joining me for some yoga today. Today the focus is going to be winding down. So a little bit of relaxation, slowing down and relaxing and calming the body. So this is going to be a really beautiful sequence for before bedtime, or if you're just feeling a bit stressed during the day, a bit tight, just to relieve any tension and tightness in the body. We're going to begin in Crocodile Pose in Konasana. And just to quickly show you the hand positioning here, the fingertips reach the elbows, so the hands or arms are stacked on top of each other. It doesn't matter which way round they are, just make sure it's not the watch, if you're wearing a watch, the watch arm on top, because the forehead is going to rest on our forearms and then our feet and our legs extend out behind us. So let's get ready and come down onto the front of our body and stack the arms for Crocodile Pose. Fingertips touching the elbows and the forehead resting on the forearms. And this may feel a little bit strange to begin with, so just take a moment to adjust anything, to make any wriggles, small movements to make it feel a little bit more comfortable. Allow the body to settle into this position. The feet can be turned in, turned out. Softening the shoulders, so encouraging the shoulders just a little bit away from the ears to allow space for the neck. Maybe closing down the eyes as the gaze is towards the floor. It's okay to keep the eyes open here, whichever you prefer. Breathing in and out through the nose. Begin to notice where your breath is moving to. So you'll probably immediately notice that as your belly is on the floor, we're unable to breathe into our bellies. So noticing the lungs expanding in all directions. You may become aware of a little bit more movement in the back. Maybe a little bit of movement in the lower back as well. Encouraging the breath to be long, soft. Taking 3 more breaths here in your own time. And when you've taken those 3 breaths, taking another moment to notice how you feel after just a few minutes of conscious breathing in Crocodile Pose. It's a really beautiful pose to practice if we've got a busy head, we've got a lot going on in our heads, to help us calm our nervous system down. We're going to very gently push back into extended child's pose. So remembering that lovely word ahimsa, kindness and compassion to our bodies. Taking your time, gently lifting the head just a little, maybe keeping the eyes closed. Bringing the hands back towards the body and pushing back. The big toes are going to be staying together. The knees are coming wide apart. And we're coming into our extended child's pose. Just a gentle version at this point. The elbows are on the floor. Our glutes are still glued to our heels. Softness in the shoulders. Gently stretching, finding space in the hips. And then maybe from here, you extend the hands, the fingertips, and bring the forehead towards the floor. Remembering that may not be your position. Maybe you're happy with the elbows bent. Maybe the head doesn't want to come down towards the floor or the ground today. Maybe you can have a couple of cushions or pillows under the forehead. Just coming to wherever feels comfortable for you today. From here, we're going to take our hands towards the left-hand side. So gently pad them towards the left-hand side. The head, the neck still in line, and we're just reaching through the fingertips, getting a little bit of space and length through the side of the body. Coming through center, and then going over towards the right-hand side. Stretching through those fingertips, reaching through the fingertips. And then slowly coming back to center. From here, we're going to do a very simple pose. I call it threading the needle. We're going to take one hand. I'm taking my right hand underneath my left. So it looks a little bit like we're threading a piece of thread through the needle, eye of the needle. And we're coming here. I'm turning my head to look in that direction, only if that feels comfortable for the neck. So remember, you can keep the gaze towards the ground. And the palm can be faced up or face down. Just a little bit of movement here in the shoulders, the shoulder joints. Remember to keep that lovely long breath. And then slowly coming back to center. And we're going to go over to the opposite side. So bringing the hand through underneath the opposite arm, turning the head in that direction. And then slowly coming back to center. We'll pad the fingers up, back towards the body. Roll the shoulders out. So gently rolling up, back and down, and taking quite large, exaggerated movements with the shoulders. I'm bringing my hands into this movement as well. I'm going to go 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then 3 or 4 times in the opposite direction. Bringing some space in between the shoulder blades and movement into the shoulder girdle. And then finding, hopefully, that lovely space. Feels really lovely to move the shoulders in that way. We're going to stretch out our fingers. So particularly at the end of the day, often if we've been writing or using computers and devices quite a lot, our fingers can get quite tight. So let's bring our hands together. I'm clasping my hands here. I'm turning them away from me. Just a gentle stretch through the fingers. If your shoulders are up by your ears, just notice if you can soften them a little. And then we can release the hands and make some very gentle wrist rolls. From here, we're going to come into our cat-cow position. So really spreading the hands, thinking about that beautiful space between the fingertips and the fingers. Hands are roughly under shoulders, knees are roughly under the hips. I'm encouraging a rotation in my arms. So it's almost like I'm rotating inwards. You want the weight to be even over the hands and the palms. Inner elbows are pointing in towards each other. And then it's almost like the shoulders are rotating in the opposite direction. So we're bringing the shoulders away from the ears, almost like the shoulder blades are coming together. Softness in the elbows. There's quite a lot of going on here. Don't worry too much about it. Just making sure you feel comfortable and your wrists feel okay. If your wrists are sore, you can come onto the elbows. We're going to breathe in, look forwards, dipping the belly towards the mat or the floor, breathing out to curl the spine round. So we're arching the back, spine is reaching up for the sky, and I'm looking towards my knee or my belly button. Breathing in to look forwards, belly towards the floor, breathing out and taking the spine up towards the sky. So this can be a very small, gentle movement, or you can almost exaggerate it a little bit more. And as I arch my spine towards the sky, I'm pushing into my hands this time a little bit more, just to feel some more space in the top of the back. So just working with your body here. We're creating space in between the vertebrae, working through the whole of the back. It's a beautiful pose to do if we've been sitting a lot. And making this your last one, and coming back to our neutral spine. From here, we're going to take our hands forwards a little bit further. So remember, you might want to make a little wrist roll here just to relieve any tension in the wrists. We're going to make some circles with our hips. So very gently circling in one direction. Have a softness in the elbows. So try not to lock the elbows. I'm circling all the way around. And if the knees are a bit sore, you can put some padding underneath, a couple of cushions or a blanket. And all the way around. And then we're going to go around in the opposite direction. So this is where I have to concentrate because I'm going the opposite way around. Lovely big sweeping movements. And then coming back to center. Take a moment to relieve the pressure on the wrists. My wrists are feeling it today. And then we're going to lie down back onto our front and come into Sphinx Pose. So Sphinx Pose is lovely. It's a little bit gentler, I feel, than Cobra. We're lying on our front. Elbows are under shoulders, so you'll notice that alignment there. And what we want to think about are the proud sphinxes in Egypt. So there's a tendency here to kind of just collapse a little. So we want to gently push in, bring some pressure through the hands, the elbows, drawing the shoulder blades down away from the ears. And finding that beautiful proud pose. And the gaze is just ahead. We're going to come into a gentle twist in Sphinx as well. So we're going to straighten. I'm straightening my left arm to begin with. Straightening the left arm, encouraging the hips and the pelvis to stay down. And then I'm taking a gaze over that left shoulder. And gently bring the head back towards center and that elbow back down towards the ground. And then finding our proud sphinx once again, gently straightening the right arm, dropping the shoulder and taking the gaze over the right shoulder. So only taking the head, the neck round as far as feels comfortable for you. You might find one side is tighter than the other. So my right side is a little bit tighter. To use my right hand quite a lot more. I'm more dominant on this side, so you might find that depending on which arm, hand you're more dominant with. And slowly coming back to center. From here, we're going to push back into puppy pose. I call it or half dog, and it looks like this. You're on the knees, so back into that cat-cow positioning of the knees, and then I'm gently bringing the hands forwards and the head towards the ground. So it's a little bit like a half downward dog. We want the inner elbows pointing in towards each other, making sure the weight distribution of the hands is even. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Sitting bones reaching up towards the sky. Two more breaths here. Gazes towards the ground, trying to keep the head, the neck in line, spine. And then very carefully, bringing the knees in, we're going to tuck round into child's pose. So regular child's pose, maybe you're curled all the way round with your hands making a little pillow for your head. Maybe the head reaches the floor and the hands are down beside you. Maybe you just want to come into extended child's pose. Just making sure it's a resting position for you and your body that feels good. Refocusing on the breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And then from here, gently pushing yourself up to sitting. So we're going to come into Dandasana now. We won't be holding it for very long, but just finding our position here in our staff pose. And it's quite a lot of work going on in Dandasana. The quads have to work quite hard. But what I'd like to do is have spider hands. So rather than flat hands, my arms are quite long. So if you've got longer arms like me, you might find that spider fingertips, just like that, bringing and drawing the elbows in towards each other. Toes are pointing up to the sky, so the feet are very active here. Drawing those shoulder blades down the back. Beautiful, long, strong Dandasana pose. And then we're going to come into Paschimottanasana, so our forward fold. So we're not going to be raising the arms here. We're actually just going to be creeping them down the legs. Imagining we're trying to get the heart towards the toes. So breathing in, breathing out and folding forwards. I'm trying to get my heart towards my toes. So that's going to keep lovely length in the lumbar spine. I've got a micro bend in the knees. If hamstrings, so all the muscles down the back of the leg feel quite tight, bend into the knees a little bit more. Okay, so remember, we're trying to be kind to our body. We're imagining this is the end of the day. This is bedtime yoga or relaxation, winding down, finding length in the body. So making sure it's gentle, doesn't need to be strong. Gently bringing some space, easing tension and tightness in the body. And then very slowly coming back up to center. I'm going to come into slightly wide-legged pose. It doesn't need to be too wide, and I'm going to tuck one foot in. So I've tucked my right foot in here today, and my left toes are still active. I'm going to place my right hand on the floor, and I'm just going to gently reach over with my left arm. Maybe you reach up, over, just gently looking, wanting a little bit of length. Should feel really nice down the side of the body. And then coming back to center. And then we're going to gently twist. So twisting the body towards that left toe. So this left foot is active. So the belly will twist a little, and then gently folding forward. So remember, we're trying to get the heart towards the toes. And then coming slowly back up to center. And then we'll go over to the other side. So extending the right leg now, bringing in the left. And if the knee's up quite high here, you can always have a couple of cushions to prop up and support that leg. Making sure the right toes are active still. I'm going to place my left hand on the ground and I'm reaching over with my right. So maybe I'm reaching up here, maybe I'm curling around, just looking for a lovely stretch or feeling of length down the side of the body, making it work for you. And slowly coming back up to center. We're going to twist now. So I'm twisting the body, trying to sit up tall, find that length in the spine, twist all the way around, and then gently folding forwards towards the right toes. Remember, we're trying to get the heart towards the toes, and we're here. If you do know you can come further and hold the toes, just make sure you're not compromising the shoulders. Want to draw the shoulders back and down. And then from here, we're slowly going to come back up to center. We're going to come to sitting. The knees are going to be bent. Feet are quite wide. And then we're bringing the hands towards the ground. If the wrists are feeling a little bit sore today, you can come onto elbows. Palms flat. Bringing that beautiful chest, that proud chest back up. Space there in the chest for the lungs and the breath to move. And then we're very gently going to take our knees down to one side and then down to the other. So taking it as far as you would like to, as feels comfortable for your body. So now I'm bringing one knee all the way down to the floor. It might be a much gentler movement. So this just feels really nice, very supportive. Just to gently move the knees from side to side. So coming into a really gentle twist here. And then we're going to slowly creep down to lying down. So coming down, allowing the shoulders to soften. The knees are bent to begin with here again. Hands, belly, find that lovely length in the spine. And we're going to draw our right knee in to begin with. So bringing the right knee in and giving the right knee a little hug. So working here, the glutes, the hips, you might feel it all over. And while the knee is bent, point and flex the foot. Maybe you can bring the knee in a little bit further. And then you can make some circles with the ankle. Make sure the circles are in both directions. And then reach up to the sky with that right foot. Doesn't need to be long. Safe to straighten the leg. Try not to lock the knee. Maybe it's here. Just find a little bit of length, reaching through the heel. And then gently release that back down. And we'll do exactly the same thing on the other side. So I'm drawing the left knee in now. Bringing a little bit of space into the hips. Maybe you feel it in the glutes, the lower back. And then you can begin to bring a little bit of movement to the feet. So pointing and flexing. And making some circles. And making sure the circles are in both directions. A few in one direction and then the other. From here, extend that left leg out, reaching through the heel. A little bit of a stretch again for the hamstrings. And then gently bringing that foot back down. We're going to come into our Supine Baddha Konasana. So bringing the feet together and have a little play, because you might find it's more comfortable to have the heels away from the body or the heels in towards the body. So you work out what feels most comfortable for you. If it feels a little bit too much for the knees to be all the way out, maybe you can pile some cushions. I've got yoga blocks obviously, but lots of cushions and blankets under here to support the knees. That can feel really beautiful. Allow the shoulders to soften down wherever you are and bringing the hands towards the belly. I'm going to take 10 breaths here, focusing on the inhalation, exhalation through the nose and directing the breath towards the belly. Just take a moment to notice if you're holding any tightness or tension in the glutes. Let that go. Allow the knees to work with gravity, to fall towards the ground. Noticing the rise and the fall of the belly through the hands as you breathe in and breathe out. And when you've taken your 10 breaths here, maybe even helping the knees come together, bringing the hands towards the outside of the thighs, gently giving support and bringing the knees in for a hug. So come into Apanasana, gentle squeezing of the belly as you bring the knees in and letting go. And then bring the feet back down towards the floor. So we're going to come into relaxation. So if there's any small movements you feel you need to make for your body, just to allow everything to soften a little bit more, please make those movements now. And then coming into your relaxation, your preferred relaxation pose. So maybe you'd like to come back into crocodile that we started with. That can feel quite nice. Maybe you're here with the knees bent, or maybe you're in full shavasana. So feet extended, allowing the feet to flop out towards the side of the body and bringing the palms to face the sky. So we've got that beautiful space in the upper body for the breath. Closing down the eyes. Maybe you've got an eye pillow. That can feel lovely. Bringing your focus back to the breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Have a sense of letting go. So just notice if you're holding your body in any way. Often it can be the ankles. Allow the feet and the ankles to roll out to the sides. Allow the glutes to soften. The arms and the hands to feel heavy. And the shoulders to soften. If your mind wanders, bringing focus back to the breath. Starting to take 2 or 3 deeper breaths to gently awaken yourself out of relaxation. And as you do so, just noticing, taking a moment to notice how maybe you feel you could just stay here. Maybe that's what you'd like to do. Maybe you're able to stay here, grab a blanket, go straight to bed. Notice how once we've found some space in the body, found some length in the body through the asana, the yoga poses we've practiced, we're able to come into relaxation on the floor relatively easily. Gently making some movements in the hands, the fingers, the toes, the ankles, the wrists. Just small, gentle movements to awaken the body if you're coming out of relaxation. Taking your time to gently move the head and the neck from one side to the other. Maybe taking a full body stretch, so taking the hands behind you and then bringing the knees in for a hug. And then taking your time to roll over onto your right hand side. So rolling over to your right hand side, taking a moment there before you bring your hands to push yourself up to sitting. Bringing the hands together at heart center. Sort of noticing how you feel after a short session to soften the body, soften the mind, ready for bedtime, relaxation, or just as a reset at some point during the day. Bring my hands up to my forehead to remind us to have kind thoughts, to our lips to remind us to have kind words, and back down to heart center to remind us to have kind actions. Thank you so much for joining me for some yoga today. I hope you found that beneficial and enjoyed that session. Do give me a thumbs up if you liked it. You can click on the little blue crow in the right hand corner at the bottom of the screen to subscribe to more classes. That's it from me. I hope to see you again soon. I'm Caroline. Enjoy the rest of your day.